Welcome to Grant Writing Made Clear. The truth is, the grant writing process isn't always clear, but with the right guidance, proven actionable strategies, and expert insights, the process becomes easier, simpler, and yes, clearer. I am Dr. Trinette, your host of Grant Writing Made Clear, and a former nonprofit president turned distinguished professor and behavioral scientist with 2 decades of grant writing experience. I remember what it was like to be a busy nonprofit leader with little time, but big financial sustainability concerns. Over the years, I have transformed my skills from securing $1,000 foundation grants to winning multi-million-dollar federal grants. I created this podcast in response to the grant writing coaching requests I've received from nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, and professors over the years. Join me each week as I reveal insider strategies and share key lessons that turn wishful thinking into winning applications. Pull up a seat and get ready to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. Whether you're a beginner or a pro looking to sharpen your skills and create a life you love, you're in the right place, my friend. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Grant Writing Made Clear. I am your host, Dr. Trinette, and today we're diving into the secret sauce of winning grant proposals. We're talking about the soft skills you need to write winning grant proposals. These aren't just skills. They're your professional superpowers. Some people minimize these skills, but they can absolutely separate those who succeed from those who don't. I have a friend who don't really call them soft skills because she thinks it devalues the importance of these skills. But whatever you want to call them, soft skills, interpersonal skills, required skills, whatever you choose, we're talking about what has traditionally been referred to as soft skills. And these are the skills I think you need in order to write winning grant proposals. Let's be honest, technical knowledge is extremely important, right? Yeah, I think we can all agree it's important. You need to be able to conduct literature searches, synthesize the literature, write research aims or SMART objectives, propose rigorous methods, and all of that. All of that is required. We know that. But I think that the soft skills do not get enough attention. And I've been watching and working with people for a while now. And I think that what separates the people who are truly successful with grant writing from those who are not may be the soft skills. Like part of it really is the soft skills. I think it's what separates, again, those who are good from those who are great. So I thought I would have this episode on today for us to kind of delve into some of these soft skills. And I think this is really important because not only does it relate to grant writing, it relates to life. And much of what we cover on this podcast are things that are transferable skills, right? So it's things that, yes, matter for grant writing, but there are also things that matter for other areas of our lives. And so I'm excited that the content is much larger than grant writing. And you can certainly learn how to write grants, but you can also learn how to just be better in every area of your life, I think, with a lot of the things that we're covering in this podcast. Okay, so let's dive into some of the soft skills that you need to write winning grant proposals. Again, you call them what you choose. Skill number 1, networking and mentorship. I am a strong proponent of team science. Even if you are the only writer, great work is often crafted through connections with mentors and collaborators. I've mentioned to you all before that most of my grants where I have been the principal investigator, I've rented them alone. I've been the sole writer. Even in those cases, I have had mentors review my proposals and provide feedback, and that feedback has been invaluable. And so I want you to recognize the importance of networking because networking can lead to mentorship. And so even if they don't necessarily turn into a mentoring kind of a relationship. It might turn into a collaboration, or it may simply be someone who is willing to be a reviewer for your proposal prior to you submitting it. So I want to encourage you to network. And here's a fact about me. I've met most of my mentors through independent networking. I've met most of my mentors through independent networking, not through introductions, not where someone said, "Oh, this is so and so, you should meet them." No, I've met them because I have taken the initiative to reach out to people, usually by cold emailing them or maybe meeting them at a conference and then developing that relationship. So you really have to think about networking as professional dating, right? Like you're trying to build relationships, hoping that it'll go somewhere. So that's really the way that you have to think about it. And so I guess my advice to you is that you attend conferences and other professional meetings. While you're there, introduce yourself. Get out, introduce yourself. I have a friend who I was in the CSWE Minority Fellowship Program with. And the two of us were doc students in this fellowship. And together we met a ton of people because we were intentional about getting to know people. And it wasn't necessarily that we were wanting something from them, it was that we wanted to know them and get to know them. And then from there, we were able to build relationships with people. So, again, when you're attending these professional conferences and meetings, get out and meet people, build relationships. Another tip is do not be afraid to cold email people. Again, I'm probably the queen of cold emailing people, right? It's okay if there's someone that you follow that you know is a giant in your field, or maybe they're not a giant in your field, but they do work similar to what you want to do. It's okay to reach out to them cold. I think we're living in a time now where a lot of people want to sit back and let people do all the work for them. They no matter how much support you provide, they want more support, right? Like, and so I want to encourage you not to sit and wait for someone to do it for you. I want to encourage you to do it yourself. Take the initiative. And I want to share the story with you because I found that networking and timing is so critical. I remember when I was a junior faculty member, so when I was an assistant professor, I once cold emailed an NIH program officer, and we had a fantastic conversation. It was wonderful. And during that discussion, I shared with her that there was someone who I respected their work and I really admired the work they do. And it turned out she had a relationship with him and she connected us. So there was someone who, again, I had been from afar just really admiring, and she connected us. Long story short, that connection turned into a collaboration, not an immediate collaboration. Some things take time. Some things take time, but it turned into a collaboration that eventually led to me being able to be mentored by this person who is truly a giant in the field, and also us being able to collaborate on grant proposals. And I continue to be in contact with this mentor who has retired, as well as the program officer at the NIH. And so I want to encourage you again to that started with a cold email to an NIH program officer. That's how that relationship started. And it led me to be able to be mentored by a giant in the field. It led me to be able to receive a couple grants with this person and a few publications. So I want to encourage you to step outside of your comfort zone and get to know people. Skill number two is be coachable. Be coachable. Feedback is not criticism. It is a gift. And I believe the most successful people approach every piece of advice like a treasure map. I found some people just do not want to be coached. And honestly, a lot of times the people who do not want to be coached are the people who need it the most. And so I want to encourage you to have the humility to accept the feedback that you're receiving for grant reviewers, the feedback that you're receiving from your mentors. I think the sooner you are coachable, the faster you'll go, the further you'll go. So I want to encourage you to be coachable. Imagine that you're an athlete. A great coach helps you see blind spots and refine your technique, right? That's what a great coach does. A great coach helps you to see that, oh, this is what's happening when you're on the field. This person is doing X, Y, Z. You need to do Y, Z, right? And so a great coach helps you to see the things you cannot see. A coach is a gift. The same applies in grant writing. When a reviewer or a mentor offers guidance, lean in, not out, lean in. Listen and adapt. Take that feedback, consider it a gift. Not everybody has coaching. And most of us coach at no cost to you, right? So if you're getting coached at your job, they're coaching you at no cost to you. If you're getting coached at your university, they're coaching you at no cost to you, beyond your tuition, of course. And so I want to encourage you to lean in to feedback. It will help you go further and faster. The mindset, I think, here is that humility is essential. And again, just as a reminder, mentors won't force you to accept their feedback. They'll offer it and leave it up to you. But being receptive to the feedback can save you years of struggle. Being receptive can save you years of trying to figure it out on your own. Skill number 3, writing. I cannot overstate the value of learning how to write well. In grant writing, you have to write well. It's more than the numbers. Grant writing is about telling a story. The narrative is about showing the potential impact, the potential transformation. So your writing must be clear, it must be concise, compelling, technical, not conversational, passionate. It has to be good writing. Because I can tell you as a grant reviewer, some of you know that I am a grant reviewer, been a grant reviewer for years now. I'm also a professor, right? So I grade papers. If the writing is horrible, sometimes it's so bad that people can't understand what you're trying to say. That's not going to help you. That's going to only hurt you. So take the time to write. And again, if people are telling you that writing is important, believe them. If people are encouraging you to practice your writing, practice your writing. Read your grant out loud. If you cannot understand it, the reviewer will not understand it. So rewrite it. Revise. Good writing is revising. So I want to encourage you to work on your writing. All of us, in my opinion, can improve our writing. Skill number 4, attention to detail. Funders provide specific instructions for a reason. Missing a single requirement can have your application rejected. A single requirement. And here's the true story. Most funders conduct a preliminary review to see if basic instructions were followed. And if not, the grant is rejected without review. So attention to detail is critical, because if you do not follow the instructions, you will likely have your grant rejected without review. And it could be something as minor as not having the right size font or exceeding page limits. Attention to detail in grant writing is non-negotiable. And a lot of us think we are really attentive to details until we begin to write grant proposals, right? So you might be A1, but I suggest that in grant writing, attention to detail is a whole nother level. So take your time and ensure that you are following the instructions. I also encourage you to create a checklist for every grant proposal. A checklist of everything that's required for the grant, double check it, triple check it, and then have someone else review it. Ensure that all components are included. Skill 5, organization. Grant writing requires strong organizational skills. And I found that establishing systems is really helpful. So I'll give you a few tips. Some people use project management teams like Slack, Trello, or Asana to track deadlines, requirements, and details. So feel free to use a software like Slack, Trello, or Asana to track your deadlines, requirements, and details. Others, which is more my style, create Gantt charts or timelines in Excel to visualize progress. That's more my style. But decide how you will manage your applications and then follow that organizational system. Organization is very important in writing grant proposals, especially if you're writing multiple grant proposals at a single time. Skill 6, time management. Grants have hard deadlines. No exceptions, no excuses. If they say the grant is due on April 15th, the grant is due on April 15th, right? I think Dr. Rachel shared a time when she was able to submit late, but I promise you that's the only time I've ever heard of that happening. So do not think that is the norm. It is not. If the funder says a certain date and time, that is almost always the case. So it's important that you manage your time. However you choose to do that. For me, the way I do it is I try to block time out in my schedule. And so I will usually try to map onto my calendar how much time I think it will take me to write the proposal and block that time out to ensure I get where I need to get on time. And then I try to build in time for life, right? Because what's going to happen is someone in my family is going to get sick and that's going to slow me down a bit. Or, a loss of a loved one, something will happen that will slow you down. And so I try to also build into my timeline the the unknowns. Okay, skill number 7, critical thinking. Grant applications require you to use critical thinking skills. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University for my PhD, and one of the key things they taught me there, shout out to VCU, go Rams. One of the key things they taught me at VCU is critical thinking. We spent a lot of time in class sharpening our critical thinking skills. And so I want you to take time as you're writing your grant proposal to ensure that you're using a critical lens, right? That you're not staying surface level, but that you're looking at underlying assumptions as an example. Skill number 8, emotional resilience. We talked about in the previous episode that rejection is part of the grant writing game. The best grant writers do not take no or rejection or failure personally. The best grant writers understand that it is part of the process and they take it and move forward to the next step. They recognize that every no is simply market research. Every rejection is a chance to improve our ideas. Remember, I've said this more than one time. No stands for what? Next opportunity. Next opportunity. So we take the no's, we try to learn from them, and then we keep moving, we try again. So I want you to shift your mindset into thinking that rejections are the end of the world. We're going to think of rejections as stepping stones. We recognize that each stepping stone, each rejection, each failure gets us closer to our yes. Skill number 9, stay on top of your field. Your field changes constantly. Stay hungry for knowledge. I used to encourage people, and I still do. I'm encouraging you today to read peer-reviewed articles. If you don't have access to peer-reviewed articles, you should be able to go to Google Scholar, pull some articles, and see the abstract. Even reviewing the abstracts will give you a good sense of where the field is. So I want to encourage you to stay on top of your field. If your area is mental health, you need to stay on top of where the field is with mental health. If your area is environmental justice, you need to stay on top of the environmental justice field. Whatever it is, stay on top of your field. Listen to podcasts like this one. Do whatever it takes for you to stay on top of your field. Engage in any grant writing coaching you can find. All of those things are going to help you learn how to become a good writer and a good grant writer. Follow thought leaders on social media. Again, whatever your field is, follow those thought leaders on social media. By the way, are you following me yet? I am. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Trinette and at Grant Writing Made Clear. Please find me. Yeah, so we want to make sure we're staying on top of the field. My final skill for today is work ethic. It is last but not least, should probably be first on the list. Work ethic is something people can't give you. Either you have it or you don't. Either you want to deliver or you don't, right? So the question is, are you willing to put in the work to achieve your dreams? I'm not saying overwork. I'm not saying that at all. but work, right? There are a lot of people who want what they see others have, but they're not willing to give what others gave to get it. And so if you want grant success, it is going to require work. No one's going to just give you a grant 9 times out of 10. So are you willing to do the work that it requires? Again, I'm not saying overwork. I do not support that. But I am saying it's going to require some work. So these skills are not just about writing winning grants. They are about creating meaningful change in this world. The same skills that help you write strong grant proposals will help you manage the grants and drive the change that is needed. I hope today's episode on these soft skills, again, I think we minimize them a lot, but they should not be minimized because I'm telling you what I see on a day-to-day basis. So I hope that this encourages you to sharpen your soft skills. I hope that it encourages you to keep going. Before you go, please don't forget about the free guide that I have for you. Share it with someone else. Maybe you don't need it, or maybe you already have access to it, but send the link to someone else so they can sign up for this free resource. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, like, and leave a review. Keep dreaming, keep writing. Your grant is closer than you think. Thank you so much for joining me on the Grants Writing Made Clear podcast. I know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend your time with me. And for that, I say thank you. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Take good care. Thank you for listening to Grants Writing Made Clear. I hope today's episode gave you inspiration, confidence, and clear information that you can turn into action. Remember, you are not alone. There's a whole community here striving for the same impact. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a quick review to help more people find the show, and share this episode with others in your network. It really does make a difference. For more grant writing tips and resources, follow me on social media. Until next time, keep showing up, keep learning, and remain determined. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye for now.